What's going on, guys, and welcome to my review of Mickey 17, the latest film from Oscar-winning director Bong Joon Ho. I hope I'm pronouncing that. I apologize if I'm not. This is his first film since winning that said Oscar for 2019's Parasite, so I love that movie, so naturally I was excited to check this one out. This film is led by Robert Pattinson, who plays the character of Mickey Banrnes, who, in order to escape a loan shark, volunteers for a job, what they call an expendable, on a space expedition to colonize an ice planet titled Niflheim. I think that's how you pronounce that if my God of War knowledge serves me right. Essentially, the job of an expendable is to die and be reprinted over and over and over again in service of scientific research and discovery of new diseases and medications, as well as sauces.
Put some hot sauce on my burrito, baby. You know you look good to me.
In typical Joon Ho fashion, and much like was the case with Parasite, this film is jam-packed with social commentary on a multitude of topics dealing with modern society, and it's all delivered with his signature blend of satirical, witty comedy, as well as thought-provoking writing. Now, genre and style-wise, this movie is very different from Parasite, but Joon Ho has proven to be a trustworthy director amongst fans and studios alike, which is evidenced by the massive budget he was given to explore the wacky ideas in Mickey 17. Now, in his past projects, he's been able to strike that balance of social commentary and satirical comedy near flawlessly, but does he continue to do so with Mickey 17? Let's get into it. Starting with the positives, and I would be absolutely remiss if I did not kick this review off with talking about and singing the praises of Robert Pattinson, because he is absolutely fantastic in this film. Over the past several years, this man has quickly become one of my favorite working actors today, and though I feel he does get a fair amount of credit, I still feel like he is criminally underrated as an actor. Over the last decade, pretty much, I don't think he's given one bad performance. With films like Good Time, The Lighthouse, The Boy and the Heron, and Batman, he has been able to completely showcase his versatility and the talent that he is. And what frustrates me the most is that I feel like the reason he's so underrated is because to this day, even after all these years of these movies ending, people still cannot get over the fact that he was one of the leads of the Twilight franchise, which, yes, those movies are bad and he's not great in them. But here's the thing. He agrees with that. He has said very publicly that he is not a fan of those movies nor his performance in those movies. Hell, while he was making the movies, he was giving interviews like that. So the fact that he is shackled to this one bad role that he agrees is bad is insane. I can't think of another actor who has been hurt or held back more by one bad performance as much as Robert Pattinson has. I still see people online on social media say they haven't seen The Batman, for instance, because they don't want to see Edward Skin of a Killer Cullen play Batman. And that's a real shame, and I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you have not seen any of his work since the Twilight movies wrapped up.
This is the skin of a killer, Bill.
And this movie is no different. He is still completely showcasing his talents, as in this movie, he's playing kind of multiple versions of the same character, and they're completely different from each other. They're kind of like two sides of one conscience. You have Mickey 17, who is like the more good-natured, morally in line version of himself, and then you have Mickey 18, who is like the devil on your shoulder kind of type of character. And the way he's able to play these two different characters using two different voices and it sound believable and legitimate is just really impressive, and he's definitely the brightest light that shines in this movie, and I can't say enough about how good he is. But really, the entire cast here is really solid. You got Mark Ruffalo, Toni Collette, Stephen Yeun, who all do a good job, and Naomi Ackie, who I'm familiar with, but I haven't seen a whole lot of her work. She's really solid in this. I think after Robert Pattinson, she's probably the most impressive. I think a lot of people will praise Mark Ruffalo in this movie, but I'll get more into his performance a little later. But yeah, everyone here does a good job on the performance side of things. For the most part, I found this movie really funny. Joon Ho's style of satire is very unsubtle, but in a good way, and so there are a lot of laughs to be had at the disconnect between how the audiences feel seeing these terrible things happen to Mickey repeatedly versus how the scientists and the government types view what's happening. As to them, they're so detached from reality and really morality, they don't see an issue with killing someone over and over again if it is to benefit their own research and their goals and what they're trying to accomplish. And that's really hilarious, but it can also be kind of terrifying because it's not so far-fetched to believe given what we see in our day-to-day society as of late. So yeah, like I said, it's funny, but it can also be a little scary, but that's what makes it so effective. Before moving on to the mixed part of the review, I would kindly ask that while you're here, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. All my links to my socials will be down in the video description. Leave a comment if you're looking forward to Mickey 17. If you've already seen it, what'd you think about it? I'd love to read your thoughts. let's get back into the review. Getting into the mix now, and I really only have one thing to talk about in this section, and that is the characters played by Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette. The reason they're here in the mix is because on the performance side of things, they both do a terrific job, and I expect no less from two performers of their talents. However, the comedic sides of their characters, as the film progressed, started to wear a little thin on me. Toni Collette's character has this kind of running gag throughout the movie that her goal on this expedition is to discover new and exotic sauces, and it's the kind of joke that I didn't find it that funny the first time it was made, and so they keep repeating it throughout the movie, and it just gets less and less funny every time, and it gets into the territory of just being annoying. So towards the end of the movie, I was kind of exhausted with her character. I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't really liking what she was contributing to the movie character wise. Again, not performance wise, because she still does a good job there, and that's why it's in the mix. And as for Mark Ruffalo, he too gives a great performance, but, and this is just a me thing, I've grown a little tired of the archetype of character that he's playing in this film. Like I said, Joon Ho's style of comedy is very unsubtle, and so it's clear who the inspirations are behind a character like this, and we see so much of these crazy government types on a day-to-day basis in real life that now when I see it in a movie, I'm a little exhausted by it, and that's not necessarily the movie's fault, and credit to credit where it's due, it can still be entertaining at times. I'm just burnt out. It hits a little too close to home, but I don't want to be too hard on it because it is a me thing. It's just something that I felt I needed to point out in this review. Moving on to the negatives now, and I think this movie's biggest problem is that it's trying to explore too many ideas for one movie to handle. The first half of this movie focuses mainly on capitalism and how it dehumanizes people to the point where they don't see an issue with killing someone repeatedly to meet their own goals because they can just reprint another one. They are expendable. And then the second half of this movie switches its focus to colonialism and colonization, and I feel like there was no merging point between those two themes. Add into the mix, we got drug smuggling, we got this religious cult aspect that gets touched on and its impacts on politics, as well as commentary about what power does to a person, and it just feels like too much. And I think the issue with that is the more topics and ideas you want to explore, the less time and energy you have to devote to each individual idea. And as a result of that, some, if not all of those ideas are gonna feel half-baked. And I feel like that is the case for a lot of this movie. And I was interested in the two overarching ideas, but it never felt like there was a merging point or there was any effort to blend the two together. It just kind of felt like this part of the movie is about this part of the movie is about that. And there was no cohesion between the two, and I just would have liked if they had focused and locked in on those and kind of maybe got rid of some of the other things being explored. It would have made for a better movie thematically. With all that being said, however, I still really liked this movie, and if what you've seen from advertising or this review matches your style and taste, I would recommend you go see this in theaters. Score-wise, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Its only issue is that it's a little scattered and unfocused theme-wise, but I still think it's an enjoyable film worth experiencing. So there you have it, guys. Those are all my thoughts on Mickey 17. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel while you're here. Like I said, get down in the comments and tell me what you think of Mickey 17 if you're looking forward to it, or if you've already seen it, what you think about it, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.